Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of this lovely journey. Giving someone the time and space to express themselves fully is a form of respect, showing them that they don't have to rush to make themselves understood. Imagine a quiet evening, the kind where the hum of the world feels a little softer and you're sitting with a friend or partner. They look at you and with a faint, half-hearted smile say, "I guess I'm just tired." At first glance, it sounds simple enough, like the common refrain we all use when life feels heavy or exhausting. But as you take a closer look, noticing the subtle droop in their shoulders, the way their eyes seem to linger on some distant thought, you realize this isn't the usual fatigue from a long day. There's a heaviness there, a quiet kind of weight that words alone can't capture. You feel an intuition, a small tug, telling you there's more behind that phrase. Instead of just nodding along or replying, "Well, maybe you should get some rest." You pause, and in that pause, you're showing them that you truly see them. Instead, you say, "You know, you seem more than just tired. Is there something on your mind?" With this gentle question, you're opening a door, inviting them to step through if they're ready. You're not prying, but simply acknowledging what you sense. This simple act of tuning in, of seeing beyond words, can create a moment of deep connection. Your friend or partner might then take a breath, feeling safe enough to share the thoughts they've kept tucked away. Maybe they're overwhelmed by a problem at work, feeling disconnected in their life, or carrying a burden they didn't want to impose on anyone else. By showing that you're willing to listen and be there, you've given them permission to let go, even if just for a moment. This approach, reading between the lines, tuning into tone, body language, and the small cues we all give off without meaning to, is the art of empathy in its truest form. It shows that sometimes the most meaningful connections are created not by grand gestures, but by the quiet attentiveness we bring to the seemingly small, everyday exchanges. And in doing so, you're saying something profound without uttering the words directly. "I'm here, and I care about you." It's through these moments of attentiveness that we find ourselves nurturing bonds that feel both gentle and unbreakable, built on layers of trust and understanding that only grow deeper over time. Picture a moment in a conversation where the usual flow seems to pause, just briefly. A friend, family member, or partner hesitates mid-sentence, their voice catching or wavering. Or perhaps there's a pause where they search for the right words but struggle to find them. In that instant, if you're tuned in, you might notice that something delicate has surfaced, an unspoken signal of vulnerability. These small hesitations, wavers in tone, or moments of silence are more than just conversational hiccups. They are the subtle language of unfiltered emotion. In today's fast-paced world, most people wear a mask of strength, confidence, and composure, but in rare instances, they let it slip. When this happens, it's a sign of deep trust, a hint that they feel safe enough with you to let their guard down. Not everyone allows themselves to show these unguarded parts, as they can make one feel exposed. When someone does, it's like they're handing you a fragile piece of their inner self, trusting you to be gentle with it. In these moments, it's common to want to fix things, to rush in with advice, comforting words, or solutions to ease their discomfort. But often, the most powerful thing you can do is to let the silence sit, to give them space to find their words without feeling rushed or judged. Instead of interrupting their process, try a simple phrase like, "Take your time. I'm here to listen." This one line, though brief, conveys an abundance of patience, empathy, and understanding. It tells them that they don't need to rush or worry about how they're coming across. You're there to be present, not to evaluate or solve. This approach cultivates an atmosphere where true connection can flourish. When people feel they have the time and space to express themselves without immediate feedback or fixes, they are more likely to open up deeply. By allowing them this freedom, you're reinforcing their sense of security, helping them feel valued and heard. Over time, these small gestures accumulate, and they come to associate you with safety, a person they can rely on during life's challenging moments. In a world where so many conversations are rushed or superficial, offering your patience and undivided attention makes a lasting impact. It's a quiet, profound way of saying, "You matter, and I'm here for you." And in that space of calm listening, the person is often able to uncover and articulate their feelings in a way they may not have managed otherwise. Through this simple act of patience, you're not just hearing words, you're witnessing and honoring the whole person, their struggles, strengths, and the journey they're navigating, one step at a time. Consider a situation where a friend or partner comes to you at the end of a long, stressful day. Their words are sharp and pointed, venting about the numerous frustrations they faced, maybe a rude coworker, a project gone wrong, or a lack of appreciation from their boss. On the surface, they're giving you the rundown of their day, spilling details about what went wrong. But if you listen closely, not just to the words, but to the tone, the pauses, and their expressions, you'll realize there's more at play than just a bad day. Unspoken cues are the small, subtle signals that hint at a person's deeper emotional experience, often hidden beneath the literal story. For instance, as your friend recounts their day, their tone might seem not just frustrated, but almost defeated. Or there may be a certain vulnerability in their voice that reveals how truly exhausted they feel. Perhaps their words are laced with anger, yet the emotion you pick up is a quiet sadness or feeling of being undervalued. The underlying message, which can be easily missed if you are only focused on the specifics of their story, might be one of feeling unappreciated or disrespected, of struggling with a deeper hurt that they haven't fully expressed. In such moments, the goal isn't to jump in with solutions or logical responses that tackle the details of their story. They're not necessarily looking for advice on how to handle a difficult coworker or fix a project error. Instead, they need to be understood, to feel that someone sees and hears them beyond the events of their day. By responding in a way that speaks to the underlying emotion, saying something like, "It sounds like you feel overlooked, and that must be really difficult to deal with day after day," you validate their experience. You're not just hearing about their day, you're connecting with the core of what they're truly feeling. In doing so, you're offering them a rare and precious gift, the feeling of being genuinely understood. This ability to read between the lines, to recognize the unspoken, requires a conscious, mindful approach to listening. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of our own thoughts and to react quickly, but truly understanding another person means setting aside those reactions and taking a slower, more observant approach. This is where mindful listening comes in. Instead of merely focusing on what's said, you're attuning yourself to how it's said, observing the tone of voice, the pace of their words, their body language, and the way they seem to carry themselves in that moment. It's about noticing the slump in their shoulders, the slight drop in their gaze, or even the pauses that might linger as they search for the right words. This kind of listening isn't something that happens overnight. It takes practice and patience, especially because, as humans, we're often tempted to respond right away, to offer solutions or comforting words. But by slowing down, we train ourselves to become more attuned to the subtleties of communication. Each time we resist the urge to jump in or make assumptions, we build our capacity to connect on a deeper, more meaningful level. The more you engage in this practice, the more natural it becomes, like developing a new language of empathy. You begin to recognize patterns, noticing that certain tones might indicate sadness masked as anger, or that long pauses often signal someone wrestling with complex emotions. Over time, this skill becomes almost instinctual, enabling you to navigate conversations with an awareness that goes beyond words. Ultimately, tuning into unspoken cues allows you to move past surface-level interactions and into a space where honesty and vulnerability can thrive. It builds an environment where people feel safe to express themselves openly, knowing they won't just be heard, but truly seen. And in a world where genuine understanding is often rare, this ability to connect authentically is a powerful way to nurture relationships built on trust, empathy, and respect. The art of mindful listening is like opening a door into someone's inner world, where words only skim the surface. Imagine this. You're in a conversation with a friend who's going through a difficult time. They're sharing something deeply personal, and instead of rushing to respond or advise, you sit with their words. You watch the subtle shifts in their expressions, the slight tremble in their voice, and the weight they carry in their silence. By staying fully present, you're not just listening to the story they're telling, you're tuning into the emotions woven into each sentence, the intentions hidden between breaths, and the unspoken depth behind every pause. When someone feels this kind of attentiveness, it's as if a weight has lifted. They realize they're not merely talking to someone who's waiting to reply, they're being heard by someone who cares, who isn't rushing to categorize their experience, give advice, or analyze them. This creates an atmosphere of trust, a sense of safety that opens the door to real, meaningful connection. They feel they can let down their guard, revealing more of who they truly are, knowing they won't be misunderstood or judged. In that moment, the person talking to you isn't just conveying information, they're sharing a piece of themselves. This feeling of freedom to express oneself openly is rare. Many people feel, whether in work, family, or social situations, that they're often filtered or guarded, worried they'll be misinterpreted or dismissed. When you listen mindfully, however, it's like giving them permission to be vulnerable and authentic. There's no need for pretenses or carefully crafted words. They know they're in a space where they can explore and articulate what's in their heart without fear. For you, the listener, the rewards are just as profound. As you tune in to their emotions, intentions, and underlying messages, you gain an unfiltered view into who they are. You see the friend beyond their day-to-day demeanor, the family member beyond their usual habits, or the partner beyond their typical expressions. Each story they share and every unspoken feeling they reveal helps you understand them more fully, bridging gaps in perception and building empathy. You get to know the parts of them that are often hidden in plain sight, the aspects of their character and spirit that only emerge when they feel safe enough to be real. In turn, this deeper understanding transforms the relationship. It becomes rich with empathy, trust, and authenticity. You'll find that there's a quiet satisfaction in simply being there for someone, offering them the sanctuary of your presence without judgment or the need to fix things. Relationships built on this foundation become resilient, able to weather misunderstandings and conflicts with grace. because they're rooted in genuine connection. The more you practice mindful listening, the more natural it becomes. You may start to notice when a friend is glossing over something difficult, or when a co-worker's offhand comment hints at something more significant. You begin to sense when a loved one is holding back, or when their seemingly simple statement carries an undertone of worry, joy, or sadness. And the beauty of it is that this skill becomes part of who you are, enriching every interaction you have. People are drawn to those who make them feel heard and understood. They'll seek you out for conversations that go beyond the superficial, bringing with them stories, questions, fears, and dreams. You become a trusted presence in their lives, not because you offer solutions, but because you provide a rare space where they can be themselves. And as you continue to offer this gift of mindful listening, you'll find that your own understanding of the world and the people in it grows deeper and more compassionate. So, the rewards of mindful listening are vast and profound. You're not just building a relationship with someone else, you're enriching your own experience, creating connections that feel genuine, and fostering an environment where empathy and trust can flourish. In a world where true understanding often feels scarce, this is a powerful and transformative way to connect, one that allows both people in the conversation to feel seen, valued, and understood on a level that words alone can rarely convey. So, the next time you're in a conversation, try to go beyond the literal meanings of the words. Tune into the way they're saying those words. Watch their body language, notice the pauses, and observe their facial expressions. Each of these elements is a piece of the puzzle that makes up true understanding. When we listen with this level of attentiveness and care, we transform our conversations from mere exchanges of words into moments of genuine human connection. And that's where real communication and real understanding begins. Asking questions might sound simple, but when done with genuine curiosity and sincerity, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for deepening relationships and truly understanding another person. When we ask questions with a sincere desire to know what someone is feeling or experiencing, we signal that we care about their perspective and value their thoughts. It's a way of saying, "I'm here, fully present, and I want to understand you," not just on a surface level, but in a way that's meaningful and authentic. Many people, however, tend to fall into the trap of making assumptions about what someone else might be thinking or feeling. We all have our own mental filters and biases, often formed by our personal experiences. This tendency can be especially strong when it comes to the people closest to us, like family members, friends, or partners, because we think we know them so well. But here's the thing. While we may know someone's habits or preferences, we don't live inside their minds or hearts. Assumptions close doors, while questions open them. Consider a common situation. Someone close to you seems upset. Instead of saying something like, "You must be angry about work," try asking, "How do you feel about everything going on?" This subtle difference is profound. By asking an open-ended question, you create a safe space for them to express what's truly bothering them, without imposing your own interpretation on their experience. Perhaps they're not upset about work at all, but something unrelated is weighing on them. The open-ended question allows for a response that could take any direction, showing that you're genuinely curious rather than making assumptions. The art of asking questions is also about timing and sincerity. It's important not to ask questions just to fill the silence or because it seems like the polite thing to do. True sincerity comes through in your tone, your body language, and even in the way you listen. A question like, "Can you tell me more?" may seem simple, but when asked sincerely, it invites the other person to open up further, encouraging them to dig deeper into their own thoughts and emotions. It shows that you're not just looking for a quick answer, but that you're genuinely interested in hearing their perspective in full. Another benefit of open-ended questions is that they allow for exploration, not just of facts, but of feelings, values, and desires. In a world where conversations can sometimes feel rushed or transactional, these questions create room for a more meaningful exchange. They help move beyond yes or no responses and short answers into a space where people can reflect and share more openly. Asking, "What's been on your mind lately?" or "How did that situation make you feel?" might lead to insights that wouldn't surface in a typical, hurried conversation. It's also worth noting that open-ended questions can help prevent misunderstandings. In any interaction, there's always the potential for miscommunication, especially when emotions are involved. By asking questions, you're giving the other person a chance to clarify their perspective before any assumptions cloud the conversation. Rather than interpreting their silence as anger or their hesitation as disinterest, you might ask, "Is there something you'd like to share?" or "What's on your mind?" This not only prevents unnecessary misunderstandings, but also demonstrates that you're there to support them. Open-ended questions are a form of respect. When you ask someone, "How did that make you feel?" you're acknowledging that their feelings and experiences matter. You're letting them take the lead in the conversation, allowing them to share what's most important to them. This shift in power, however small, can be incredibly empowering for the other person. It gives them control over their narrative, enabling them to express themselves in a way that feels authentic to them. In a sense, asking these questions is about showing humility, admitting that we don't have all the answers and that we're willing to learn from the other person. Now, consider how a small question can change the direction of a conversation in a significant way. Imagine a scenario where a friend is sharing a struggle they're facing. Instead of trying to jump in with advice, consider asking, "What's been the hardest part of this for you?" This question invites them to explore their emotions more deeply, potentially leading to insights they hadn't fully realized. You're not just offering a listening ear, you're giving them space to process and make sense of their own feelings. Asking these questions also builds trust. When people know that you're not going to judge them or rush to conclusions, they're more likely to share openly with you. They feel safe, knowing that their words will be received with patience and empathy. Over time, this trust deepens and conversations become more genuine. Relationships built on this foundation of curiosity and understanding are often stronger and more resilient because both parties feel truly seen and heard. In this way, asking questions becomes an invitation to connect. It's not just about gathering information, it's about forging a deeper bond. When you ask, "Can you tell me more?" or "What's your perspective on this?" you're showing that you're open to whatever they have to say. These questions are about connecting in a way that honors the other person's individuality and respects their journey. It's about setting aside your own need to interpret or analyze and allowing the other person to express their truth. In the end, the art of asking open-ended questions is a pathway to understanding. It's about moving past assumptions, deepening connection, and showing genuine interest in another person's thoughts and feelings. The next time you find yourself in conversation, try approaching it with this mindset. Ask a question, but do so sincerely, with the intention of listening, understanding, and connecting. You might be surprised by the richness that unfolds when you simply give someone the space to share their story. To truly understand anyone requires a mix of patience, curiosity, and humility. There's no magic formula, but small adjustments in the way you approach conversations and listen can lead to big changes in your relationships. So, when you find yourself thinking, I don't understand women, remember that understanding is a journey, not a destination. It's about opening yourself up to learn, without expecting to have it all figured out. Each conversation is a new opportunity to understand just a little bit more. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.